The Indian Ocean region is one of the most densely populated region in the world. It contains one-third of the world's population. Its ocean, the Indian Ocean, is the third largest among world's oceanic division. This region is blessed with vast resource of natural resources. Since few decades, the Indian Ocean region has witnessed a dramatic shift at economic and strategic level, leading to a rise in new major powers possessing immense potential to influence world affairs with their rising economy. In this report, we will learn about factors that make this region significant. We will also focus on its geography, natural resources, trade, and its strategic importance in the world. Support us through Patreon. Your support helps us to grow and produce more content on our channel. To support, please visit the link below in description. यदि आप इस वीडियो को हिंदी में सुनना चाहते हैं तो आप वीडियो पे दिए गए लिंक पर या डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर क्लिक करें। The Indian Ocean is the third largest water body, covering an area of 70.5 million square kilometers and holds approximately 20% of water on Earth's surface. It is bounded by Indian subcontinent on the north, Africa on the west, Australia on the east, and on the south by Southern Ocean, which is also known by Antarctic Ocean. It is physically the most complex of world's 5 major oceans as it contains extensive marginal seas, straits, bays, choke points and archipelagos. Arabian Sea lies to the north of Indian Ocean region. It is bounded by Pakistan and Iran on the north, on the west by northeastern Somalia and Arabian Peninsula, and on the east by India. Jawaharlal Nehru Port in Mumbai, Gwadar and Karachi Port in Pakistan, and Port of Salalah in Oman are major seaports in this region. Arabian Sea houses multiple islands like Socotra Island of Yemen, Masira Island of Oman, and Lakshadweep Island of India. Gulf of Oman and Persian Gulf at extreme north is connected with Strait of Hormuz, which is a narrow choke point, while Gulf of Aden and Red Sea is connected with Strait of Bab al-Mandab, that is another critical choke point. Red Sea and Suez Canal are connected with Gulf of Suez, which is adjacent to Gulf of Aqaba. All these regions are extremely significant in terms of trade as they provide the shortest route to connect Europe, Middle East and South Asia. If we move to the west of Indian Ocean region, we will find island nations like Comoros, Seychelles, Mauritius and Madagascar. Cape of Agulhas is located at southwest of Indian Ocean region. In the center, we find archipelago of Maldives and British Indian Ocean territory of United Kingdom. Diego Garcia of Chagos Archipelago is the largest island of British overseas territory. It provides military facilities to United Kingdom and United States. Bay of Bengal, located at northeast region, is the largest bay in the world, with Bangladesh to the north, Myanmar on the east, and Sri Lanka and India to the west. Major seaports in the bay includes ports of Chennai, Visakhapatnam and Kolkata in India, and port of Chittagong in Bangladesh. Andaman and Nicobar Islands of India are the largest chains of islands or archipelagos in the region. Archipelagos of Andaman and Nicobar are bordered by Coco Islands of Myanmar on the north, Bay of Bengal on the west, Andaman Sea on the east, and Sumatra Island of Indonesia on the south. Great Nicobar among Nicobar archipelagos is closely located to Strait of Malacca, which is a narrow passage between Sumatra Islands and Malaysian Peninsula. Strait of Malacca is one of the most important shipping lanes in the world as it provides the shortest route to connect Indian Ocean and Pacific region. Most of littoral states in the region are members of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. The Indian Ocean derives its name from India because historically India has been epicenter of trade and commerce of this region for many Europeans since the arrival of Vasco da Gama. Many other European powers such as Dutch, French and British arrived in India with the purpose of trade and eventually ended up establishing their own colonies in the Indian subcontinent, out of which Britain emerged as the biggest dominant power, and year by year it went on expanding to other regions as well. Britain remained as the dominant power until World War II, but after collapse of British Empire, India, USSR and the United States emerged as new powers in the Indian Ocean region. Ever since the new trade routes were discovered, trade flourished vigorously in this region. Now in the modern times, these strategic sea routes are helping to feed some of the world's largest economies. Industrialization increased the demand for oil, which can only be completed through imports from largest oil-producing states. Middle East accounts for 40% of world's oil production. Around 35% of its seaborne oil export passes through Strait of Hormuz to Asia, to mainly countries like Japan, India, South Korea and China. Strait of Hormuz, located between Iran and Oman, is a narrow choke point and also one of the most important shipping routes in the world. Due to rising Shiite-Sunni sectarian issues, the Shiite majority Iran has threatened to block Strait of Hormuz to claim its dominance over Sunni majority Saudi Arabia in the Gulf region. And if this happens, it will be a huge setback to the economy of Saudi Arabia and other Arab states, because majority of revenue they generate depends upon oil export through this strait. Therefore, Saudi Arabia and its allies have built a security alliance with countries that have similar interest in keeping the strait open. The United States receives around 18% of its total oil imports through Strait of Hormuz. Therefore, it has stationed its powerful Fifth Fleet in Bahrain to oversee security of these vital lanes to allow undisrupted flow of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, because any disruption to these routes can affect oil prices and add thousands of miles of transit to alternative routes. The United States also have military base at Djibouti. Camp Lemonnier is the largest American permanent military base in Africa. It is home to more than 4,000 personnel, mostly part of combined forces. It is not just US military, even France and China have their military base at Djibouti. The reason behind so many military bases in Djibouti is because of its strategic location. Djibouti is closely located to Strait of Bab al-Mandab, a narrow choke point between Horn of Africa and the Middle East. Strait of Bab al-Mandab is a strategic channel for trade and commerce. Around 18% of liquid natural gas and 4% of global oil passes through it. This strait allows the shipment of Persian Gulf oil, natural gas and petroleum products to Europe and Africa. The Cape of Good Hope, which is at southernmost tip of Africa, also functions as secondary route for oil trade if the primary choke point of Suez Canal and Bab al-Mandab are closed. In 2013, the route accounts approximately around 9% of total maritime oil trade. The United States also maintains its military presence in the British Indian Ocean Territory, an overseas territory of United Kingdom, situated in the Indian Ocean halfway between Tanzania and Indonesia. Camp Justice is located in island of Diego Garcia of Chagos Archipelagos, serves as a major naval base and logistic hub to US for its Indian Ocean operations. American forces have been using this island since 1966 under 50 years lease from the United Kingdom. The lease expired recently but was renewed again by London on 20th December 2016, which permits US to keep utilizing the island. Around 85% of total Persian Gulf oil is exported through Strait of Hormuz to Asia, and major portion of it is supplied to China and Japan through Strait of Malacca. The Strait of Malacca is a long 550 miles stretch between Malay Peninsula and Indonesian island of Sumatra. It is also one of the most important shipping routes because Strait of Malacca provides the shortest route between Africa, Middle East and South Asia. It accounts for 40% of world's trade and 20% of world's seaborne oil trade. This narrow lane is very significant for China and Japan and for other economies, because 70 to 80% of oil imported by China and Japan transit through this strait. Crude oil arriving in the Strait of Malacca first enters Singapore and Malaysian terminals, which is shipped out again to the Asian market through South China Sea after processing in form of refined petroleum products such as motor gasoline and jet fuel. Remaining crude oil is sent to Asia's two largest energy consumer, China and Japan, through South China Sea. Around 15% of crude oil moving through South China Sea is sent to South Korea through East China Sea. hence South China Sea, has got significance in its own terms. It is also major destination for liquid natural gas. More than half of the global LNG trade coming from Qatar, Malaysia, Indonesia and Australia transit through South China Sea to the countries like China, Japan and Taiwan. And Japan is the largest LNG consumer. In a similar way, large quantities of coal from world's largest coal exporters, Australia and Indonesia, passes through South China Sea around the world. All these factors make the South China Sea extremely significant in terms of transportation of goods for Asia's major economies. This is the main reason why China wants to contain South China Sea. China is also concerned about Strait of Malacca, through which it imports large quantities of crude oil. Any kind of blockage or closure could lead to energy crisis within the country. Asia's second rising power is closely located to Strait of Malacca. India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands forms a group of 572 islands in the Bay of Bengal. It also forms the southeast border of India. These islands dominate Bay of Bengal along with the 6-degree and 10-degree channels, from where more than 60,000 commercial vessels pass each year. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are India's only tri-service theatre command for the Indian Armed Forces. It was created to safeguard India's strategic interest in Southeast Asia and Strait of Malacca. India is the second country only to United States that asserts its dominance over Indian Ocean region. India's navy bases along with its long coastline naturally provides military advantages over Indian Ocean region. India is also planning to build its first navy base in Assumption Island of Seychelles and Agalega Island of Mauritius. India had already established its listening station in Madagascar to keep eye on ship movements in the Indian Ocean region. China has long-standing border disputes with India, and both the countries had already fought a war in 1962 over border disputes. In order to keep fuel supply lines alive through Strait of Malacca, China is increasing its presence by undertaking construction of several projects in ports of countries surrounded by India. Myanmar's Coco Island near Andaman Archipelago was allegedly leased to China from 1994 for construction of its listening port. In contrast, New Delhi is setting up radar station at Narko Dam Island of Andaman and Nicobar archipelagos to keep eye on Chinese activity in the region. China continues to strategically encircle India by further deepening its maritime links with Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Seychelles and Pakistan as a part of China's maritime Silk Route. China does not want to risk its trade by entirely relying on Strait of Malacca. Therefore, it had found an alternative route through Gwadar port of Pakistan, which is a part of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. CPEC is basically a collection of projects that are currently under construction throughout Pakistan. These projects are entirely funded by China at the cost of around $62 billion. With CPEC, China can easily import and export its goods through vast networks of roadways and railways linked between Pakistan Gwadar port and China's southern Xinjiang railway in Kashgar. In response to Gwadar port, India made an agreement with Iran to develop its Chabahar port, which will serve India's gateway to Afghanistan and Central Asia. India is now also eyeing on Oman's strategically located Dakhma port that will enable New Delhi to expand its economic presence in the hydrocarbon-rich West Asia and also allow the Indian Navy to play a greater role in the region. But it's not just about sea lanes and trade. More than half of the world's armed conflicts are presently located in the Indian Ocean region, while the waters also comes in continually evolving strategic development with the rising competition of China and India. Potential nuclear confrontation between India and Pakistan, US intervention in Iraq and Afghanistan, Islamic terrorism, growing incidents of piracy around Horn of Africa. The Indian Ocean living resources represents one of region's most significant assets. according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, catches from Indian Ocean marine capture have soared from less than 900,000 tons in 1950 to 11.3 million tons in 2010, which is about 14.6% of the world's catch. India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Indonesia are counted as top producer worldwide. Apart from living resources, India and US joint expedition recently discovered large reserves of natural gas in the Bay of Bengal. The Indian Ocean in the future can become a large platform for extraction of minerals beneath its bed to satisfy increasing demand of world's energy needs.